Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing okay. My name is Mr. Sandy, and I'll be taking you for advanced project management. Okay, so I don't want to waste much of our time. So we are going to start on the first unit, which is unit one. We're going to start on the first unit, which is unit one. So the method that we're going to be doing is that as we do our lectures, we'll be looking at units. After each and every unit, maybe 2 or 3 units, we try and do a bit of some revision. So we are going to be doing revisions on past examination papers that were written. And from those past examination paper, we're also going to be doing KCQs. As time goes on, we'll do KCQs together, and we'll do almost everything concerning this module. So, all right, I think since someone is entered, hello, how are you? I think I have just started now, and as we go on, we'll be recording so that others will get what we are going to talk about here. All right, so let me share with you what you are looking at today. So today we are starting with unit one, which is introduction to project management. We are starting with unit one, which is introduction to project management. I don't think we are going to complete it in one sitting or in this session because it's a bit long, but to just go through up to a certain stage and then we leave the other part for next week. So as I was saying, I said we are going to be doing this module via assignments. We do assignments, do your assignments that you're going to do them together. Also, we are going to do revisions on past examination papers after maybe 2 or 3, say, units that we would have covered. So that's how we are going to be conducting this this module. All right. So let's look at what a project is. So I think projects, they are very simple things, okay? Projects, they are very simple things. If you go out anywhere, even in town or even in your area there where you are staying, you're going to find out that a lot of projects are happening. It might be people that are maybe paving houses. It might be people maybe that are building houses. It might be people that are maybe constructing roads. Okay, all those things, they are called projects. So projects come in different forms and they come in different shades. You find projects in the construction sector. You find projects in the maybe energy sector. Right? You find projects in the accounting sector, finance sector. So even in the research department, you find projects. So projects, they are everywhere. So what is a project? So a project is an endeavor, okay, or activity that consumes time, money, human effort, and technology with limits in terms of scope. Or maybe the easiest definition is you can say that a project is an endeavor that uses materials and money to come up with what? To come up with a unique product or service. That's what a project is. All right. So a project is defined as a series of tasks which or that must be completed to reach a desired outcome. So a project, you are looking at different processes or you are looking at different tasks that are completed sequentially, right? In order to come up or in order to reach a desired destination. So this definition here is a definition that one can use, or it's a definition that explains everything that has to do with project. They say that a project can be defined as an endeavor in which human, material, and financial resources are organized in a novel way to undertake a unique scope of work from given specification within constraints of cost and time, so as to deliver beneficial change by quantitative and qualitative objectives. All right. So that's what a project is. So this one is a bit long, but the simple definition that you can use is the first one here, right? Where you will just say, we know that it's an endeavor which consumes time, money, human effort, and materials to come up with a unique product or a service. All right, so that's the definition of what a project is. Then we look at different types of projects. As I said, whenever projects are talked about, you can find them in different areas or you can find them in different industrial sectors. Okay, so the various types of projects can be categorized according to their specific product or outcome, size, duration, industrial sector, geographical location, complexity, and agency. So from there, we can know or we can devise that there are different types of projects. We can find projects in the research department where you investigate maybe a vaccine or maybe you are investigating a chemical. That can be a project that you do, all right? You can find a project maybe in construction, like building maybe a dam or maybe building, constructing a shopping mall. That becomes also a project. You can have a project in event activities, like maybe planning a wedding, okay, or planning maybe a marathon race. That one can also be a project, or maybe even planning say a graduation ceremony. It can be a project. You can have a project where there is development of a new product, like maybe developing or coming up with a new sports car. That also can constitute a project. So a project is found in different sectors, and it depends on the sector and where it needs to be applied or where it is being executed at. You look at complexity, because different projects come with different complexities. Some are complex, that is, they're difficult to do, or that is, they're difficult to execute, whereas some are not even difficult at all. So it just depends on which type of project you are doing and which sector you are involved in. All right. So those are the types of projects. There are different types of projects as I've looked at them there. Right. Then we look at the definition of project management. So the definition of project management, it comes from the definition of management, right? Because when you talk about management, you're talking about maybe planning, leading, organizing, coordinating, and controlling of resources. That's what management is. You're managing resources through planning, you're managing resources through leading different people, you're managing resources through organizing maybe the best ways, okay, in doing some certain tasks, okay? So that's management. And then now, if you bring a project before management, it becomes project management. So it involves all these other processes that we have mentioned, but within a given time frame and budget to achieve an objective. Because why are we talking about time frame and budget? They are characteristics or attributes or elements that you find in a given project. So project management involves planning, leading, organizing, coordinating, and controlling of resources within a given time frame and budget to achieve a clearly defined objective, right? Project management is the shared understanding of what it takes to deliver products and services effectively. Remember, I said that a project is an endeavor, all right, that makes use of materials, that makes use of time, that makes use of money to come up with a unique product. Okay. But there is what is called project management. To come up with that unique product or a unique service, what do you need at the end of the day, or what do you need? You need some form of management. So we call it project management. So that's what this project management is all about. Right. Then we look at organizational processes and projects. What is the difference between projects and what is the difference between maybe organizational processes or operations? Okay, so most of the time they can interchange if they're asking you on the differences between projects and maybe processes. So it can be, what is the difference between projects or processes, or the difference between projects or operations? All right. So when we talk about projects, we are now to differentiate the differences between these two. You look at characteristics or attributes that constitute projects and characteristics or attributes that constitutes processes. All right. So what are we saying? We are saying when we are looking at projects, we are saying that a project has got a specific beginning and a specific ending. Okay? It's something that is done on a specified period of time, but that has got a start and an ending period. That's a project. And a process now, a process is something that is done on a repetitive basis, or it's something that is done on a continuous basis. It's not something that has got a time frame. It's something that continues up until we don't know. All right. So that's what a process is. So that's a difference, the first difference that you find between projects and processes. Right. Let me give you an example that will show you the difference between these two. All right. Let's look at maybe a development of a new car or a development of a new vehicle. Okay. Say you are working at Hyundai Motor Corporation, and then you want to come up with a car that maybe uses a 1 liter engine, right? And maybe a car that can be used on, say, board platform. All right. So the Hyundai operation gets specifications from clients or customers on the type of car that they want, which is a 1 liter engine vehicle. Right? They've never done it before, and they don't have one in their operations. They want to come up with something new. That becomes a project. So you as the project manager there, you are given specifications that your clients or stakeholders want on a car that they want you to produce for them. What do? You start by doing design, you start by planning, or you start by planning, okay, about that. You do designs about that, then you execute, right? After execution, then you close your project. It becomes a project in the sense that you are coming up with something that is unique, that was never done before. You are coming up with a new vehicle that you have designed from nothing, all right? So it becomes a project. Now, when we want to look at a process now, let's say you have developed that new vehicle, which is a 1 liter engine on Hyundai, maybe you call it Hyundai Black, or maybe you call it Hyundai Red. That's the name that you have given it. The fact that you have come up with that car, it's a model that you have made. It's a project that you have done. Now, when you want to do mass production of that Hyundai Black or Hyundai Red that you have come up with, they now go via the assembly lines and the production lines, and they are now being made in masses, or they are now being made in large batches. That process of making them for resale value, it becomes a process, because you are now repeating the same what? The same operations or same processes over and over and over again. And you are bringing out the same material or the same product, which is the Hyundai Red or Hyundai Black, over and over and over again. That becomes a process. So that's where the difference is. A project is when you come up with something that is unique, that has never been done before. But when you look now at process, you are looking at something that is being repeated, maybe for the basis of making a profit or coming up with profit. That's the difference that is mostly there between projects and processes. Now let's read there what is written there. One perspective is that projects are things that have never been done before, whereas processes are things that are repeated. Mind you, if I say that projects are things that have never been done before, it might sound a bit vague. Why? Because I can give an example of, say, a house plan. Okay, a house plan. You can have a same house plan that can be built or that can be used by builders to build a house, say in Soweto. That same house plan can also be used to build a house maybe in, say, in Kilimanjaro mountain, or maybe in a mountain area. Okay, those two, we call them unique projects. Why? Because of the environment that they are being performed in. It's the same plan, but the requirements and materials that you are going to use to come up with that particular house are going to differ because of maybe the terrain of the different places, or maybe because maybe if you're looking at, say, the mountain, there are people that are going to blow up the mountain. You need maybe a special concrete, or maybe you need special reinforced steel structures when you are building it in the mountain, as opposed when you're building it maybe in Soweto, right, where there is level ground and everything, or maybe there is soil. In the mountain area, there are what? There are rocks. So those two may have a same plan, but they are unique projects because of the materials that are going to be used on them, and because of the demands that are going to demand, the demands that are demanding for that project to be executed are different. So I wanted to take that out, but some people might be saying that maybe if you're building a house, it's not a unique project. It's a unique project because you are doing something with specific, with specifications that are different from when it's done somewhere else. All right. So a project involves the creation of something new or the implementation of a change, whereas a process is designed to generate value through the repetitive execution of a task. Okay. So like the example that I've given of the Hyundai Black, that's what you can do there. If you're now doing mass production of that Hyundai, it becomes a process. But if you're coming up with, and you are designing, you're coming up with just a single vehicle, a single model, then it's a project. All right. Processes are established methods for continuing work, and they can only be modified by careful preparation and financial expenditure. A project is temporary since it is a starting and an end date, and consequently a fixed scope and set of resources. Moreover, a project is distinctive in that it is not a routine action, but rather a distinct series of procedures designed to achieve a single objective. All right. So here I was just talking about the differences that you find between projects and organizational processes or organizational operations. All right. So you need to see that sometimes they just interchange on processes and they put operation. All right. Here it's just showing us the difference between these two. On project, we are saying they're temporary, they've got a beginning and ending. And then on organizational processes, we are saying they are ongoing same processes which are always repeated. Projects are unique products or services. Organizational processes, they are same product or same service every time. But on projects, they have no predefined work assignments. That is, a work can change at any given moment according to the circumstances and the environment that is there. But on organizational processes, you've got structured, predefined work assignments. You follow a certain routine. There is no going outside of that. There are standards that are set that you simply follow. All right. So that's the difference between these two. All right. Now we look at project characteristics. So when you're looking at project characteristics, a project, we are looking at maybe things or components that constitute a project. Okay. So sometimes they don't say project characteristics when they're asking questions, they will say project attributes. So when you hear that they're asking, maybe saying, give us project attributes, give us project characteristics, give us project components, give us project elements, they are talking about the one in what? And the same thing. All right. So what are the characteristics or attributes of a project? We are saying that it's temporary. That is, it has got a beginning and an ending. It does not go over and over again. All right. We are saying that it's unique. That is, it produces a unique product rather than a collection of identical items or identical products. All right. We are saying that it's non-routine. That is, it does not have a specified, structured direction to follow. Okay, that's a project. A project, again, is limited by time, cost, and resources. When you do projects in your different organizations, you are given a budget to work upon. You are given resources to use. You are not given infinite resources. They give you resources and they give you a budget. So it's limited because whatever you come up with or whatever you bring out from executing a project should be within the limitations of that budget, the limitations of the resources that you have available for you to spend. All right. Also, a project must meet or exceed customers' expectations. Right? That's another what? That's another characteristic or attribute. Why do we do projects? We do projects because we want to meet or exceed our customers' expectations or our stakeholders' expectation. And when I say stakeholder, I'm simply referring to people that have got an interest in the project, or organizations that have got an interest or that are affected, okay, by the execution of your project. They are called stakeholders. Okay, so these are the characteristics that you find on a project. All right. Then we look at project scope. Before we continue, from what we've just talked about, we talked about the different types of projects that you can find, and then we talked about the project attributes that are there, and then we talked about the difference that you find between projects and processes, and also we defined what project management is, and we also defined what a project is. Before we go any further, are there any issues or are there any questions on what we've talked about so far? All right, guys? Are there any issues or questions on what we've just touched on so far? You can also use the chat box there. If you are shy to say something, you can just type there. If there are any issues, you can type there so that as we are going through, I know that maybe one or two has been left on so and so that we rectify it without moving forward too much. All right.
It is clear so far.
Can you speak a bit louder, please?
Oh, I'm saying it is clear so far on my side. I don't know about the others.
Others, how is it? All right. I think others are okay. All right, it's fine. Right. Now we are looking at what is called project scope. So what I always tell people when you hear the word project scope, for you not to misinform anything, you just need to replace that scope word with work. All right. So when we talk about scope, we are looking at all the processes. We are looking at every work that is going to be done, okay, on your project to come up with your desired result or your desired service. That's what project scope is all about. So project scope just transpose that scope with work. No, it constitutes all the work that is going to be done in order to come up with your product or your service. That's what project scope is. Now let's read there. It involves demarcation of the project into parts that addresses the 5 Y's and H of the project. All right. So project scope is defined as the end result of a project which is identifiable and measurable and can take the form of a product or a service which is required by a customer or client. So as I have said, project scope is all the work, all the processes that needs to be done in order to come up or in order to develop a product or a service at the end of your project, right? A scope statement. So this one, it outlines the deliverables of the project for the benefit of stakeholders. particularly the end user. So that's a scope statement. Usually it will be having different contents or different components, because sometimes it will be having the goals of the project, it will be having the deliverables that need to be delivered on the project, it will be having maybe things like the exclusions. What is it that you are going to exclude out of your project? You find them under what is called the scope statement. Okay, it will be having limitations. What are your limitations towards your project? You find it also again under that scope statement. Right, then you get what is called the statement of work. So this one now, we are looking at the detailed description of the work to be done on a project, right? We are looking at the detailed description now. Project scope. On project scope, you might say to build a 2-bedroom house, all right? That's the scope. That's what you want to do. That's the work that you need to do. But now when you look at statement of work, we are now looking at how we are going to build that 2-bedroom house. That statement of work. You are now articulating or giving a detailed description of all the things that you are going to do to come up with what? With that 2-bedroom house. That's the difference between these two. And a project charter, it's simply a document that gives the authority to you as a project manager to begin to use project resources, okay, or to start a project. That's what a project charter is. So it's a document that is signed by the project sponsor, that is signed by the project manager, and also maybe that is signed by maybe the top executive in an organization. So the project sponsor is there, and your organization is there, and the project manager is there. The document that shows that this project has been approved, the project manager can begin to work on this particular project. That's what a project charter is. So a project charter is the document produced by the sponsor, which formally acknowledges the existence of a project and gives the project manager the authority to start using the organization's resources to execute it. So that's what a project charter is. Right. What is the importance of project management? So if we employ or if we use project management to execute our projects, we are going to see that it's going to help us in fast tracking those projects. Why? Because there are a lot of processes and there are a lot of maybe concepts that you find in project management that helps in eliminating inefficiencies that can be found during execution of projects. So it helps us to fast track projects. It also helps us to save time and money. Why? Because when you use project management, you are obliged to stick within a stipulated time frame. So whatever that you do, you are doing it working against the timeline that has been given. So by using project management, you are able to save time on your project and you're able to save money in some aspects. All right. Project management again helps in improving communication concerning the project. What are we saying? So as you are doing the project, remember, when you do your project, you are conducting the project with people from different departments or with people from different backgrounds and skills and knowledge. Okay, so when you now use project management, it has got some systems, all right, or it has got some processes that help you to communicate effectively with people that are different or people that have got a different background with the one that you have. All right, so you can find it when you use project management. Also, project management, it helps you again to manage the quality of your services and product as you execute your project. All right. Project management again encourages this continuous learning. Right. What are we saying? We are saying that as you execute your project, there's what is called continuous learning or continuous improvement. So project management helps you. Maybe you have come up, you know, some certain maybe processes that you wanted to use in some certain aspects. But through project management, it helps you streamline and get rid of inefficiencies, which encourages continuous learning. Maybe you knew that for a certain particular aspect or task, I need to use this, but because you've applied project management, it helped you now to find out a way much easier, a different, much easier way that you can use for that particular task. So in so doing, you have learned something as you go or as the project progresses. So again, project management maximizes our resources. Again, it promotes teamwork and it helps in minimizing risks. So these are some of the important aspects or factors that you can get when you use project management. All right. Then relationships between portfolios, programs, and projects. All right. So the differences between what a project is, what a program is, and what a portfolio is. We said that a project is any endeavor, okay, that uses materials, that uses money, that uses human resources to come up with a unique product. That's a project. And now when you look at a program, we are saying that a program is a group of related projects, all right? Is a group of related projects which are managed in a coordinated manner. So when you look at a program, we are looking at, say, different projects that constitutes a program. Now, when you look at a portfolio, we are saying a portfolio is a collection of programs which are managed together. Now, for us to understand this, we use, again, examples. I think it's the best way we can understand this. When you're using an example here on these three parts, we are saying, let's take, for example, say, in the Ministry of Health, right? In the Ministry of Health, we have the Minister of Health. So the Minister of Health might have a portfolio, okay? A portfolio that is containing different programs. So in this particular portfolio, the Minister of Health might have a portfolio that that contains non-communicable diseases, okay, and another portfolio that contains communicable diseases. So these are portfolios. Now let's take a portfolio of communicable diseases. In that portfolio of communicable diseases, we have different programs that are there. We are looking at communicable diseases that the ministry is working towards on. Number one, we have, say, maybe HIV and AIDS program that is being run under the communicable disease. We have maybe, say, a tuberculosis program that is being run. We have maybe the malaria control program, and we have also maybe, say, the COVID-19 program, all right? So all these four programs, they fall under the communicable diseases, but they're different programs, but they are being, they are related. Why? Because they all fall under communicable diseases, right? So under a program now, in a program, as I have said, in a program, we are looking at group of projects, okay, that are related. So let's take, for example, a program of COVID-19. Inside COVID-19, we need to have related projects that are found there. We can have maybe, say, 3 different projects that are there, but they are also related. We can have the research and development project. Remember when the COVID came, a lot of research and development took place in order to rectify what? In order to come up with the vaccination. So research and development can be a project on its own. Because remember, when I talked about the types of projects, I said there are research projects, like even investigating the vaccines. It's a project. We can have maybe the, say, the awareness campaign project. Remember what happened at COVID-19? They were coming up on radios, on television sets, and they were giving posters each and every, maybe after every 5 minutes, after every 10 minutes. So they were doing awareness campaign so that people are aware of what COVID-19 is and how to stay safe or to prevent getting COVID-19. So an awareness campaign becomes another project. Then lastly, we look at maybe say the vaccination. So we look at vaccination project as a standalone project. Remember, what did they do when they started doing vaccination? They went to different community halls. They went to different clinics. They actually brought even mobile clinics in different streets and whatsoever, because they had a target. They wanted maybe to make sure that within 3 months, all the people must have gotten some form of vaccination from this COVID-19 pandemic that was there. So we are having 3 different projects. We have the vaccination project, we have the awareness campaign project, and we have the research and development project. All of them, they fall under one program, which is the COVID-19. But the COVID-19 fall under, again, what? A portfolio, which is what? Communicable diseases. So that's how you can look at it in that particular manner. All right. Then we look at determinants of project success. Determinants of project success. So clear objectives or goals. Okay, when we are saying determinants of project success, we are saying that for a project to be executed successfully, you need to have these points, or you need to have these determinants on your side. Clear objectives or goals. So for you to execute your project successfully, you need to have clear objective or goals. How do clear objective or goals help? It helps in the sense that everybody that is working on the project will know exactly what they are needed or what they are expected to do concerning that particular project. So by having clear goals and objectives, the rate of success of the project significantly increases. All right. A good project plan. Whatever you do, you need to plan for it. If you do not plan your day, you're going to end up going in different ways, or you're going to end up facing some things that you did not anticipate. So a good project plan helps your project to be completed successfully. So you need a good project plan for your project to be completed successfully. Remember, a project plan is a blueprint, okay, that shows the direction of where the project is going. So if a project plan does not show you the right direction, what's going to happen? You're going to have trouble and you're going to have problems within your project. And then we look at adequate resources. So for each and every project to be completed successfully, and for you to complete everything or to do everything that you want to do, you need to have adequate resources. So project managers must be adequately resourced for the projects that they are doing for it to be a success, right? You need a dedicated team. You need people that are dedicated or motivated to do more in your project, to work towards achieving the shared objective of the project, right? Top management support. You need support from the executives. As a project manager, when you're doing your project, you need support from the executive. Why? There are some instances or some unforeseen things that may happen that may cause your project to be derailed a bit. So if it's derailed and you don't have support from the top management, it's going to be a problem on your part. So when they are supporting you and they are supporting the project, whatever happens, you are in it together. If it means that they need to maybe bring out more money or to bring out more funds, they are going to bring out those funds because they are in support of the project that you are doing, right? Transparency, monitoring, and evaluation. So when you are doing a project, you need to make sure that you monitor every process and you evaluate whether or not whatever is being done according to the standards that you have set for that particular project, right? Good client relations. You need to make sure that you communicate with your clients. You have good relationship with your clients. Why? Because you are doing the project in order for them. We don't do the project for our own sakes. We do it to satisfy their needs, the client's needs. So there must be a good relationship that you have with your clients. Feed forward and feedback and feed forward mechanisms. All right, so projects must have mechanisms to ensure that there is good flow of information backwards and forward so that there is continuity of performance. So you need to make sure that there are communication mechanisms in place whereby you communicate with people and you get a response that are positive concerning your particular project that you are doing. So that these are the determinants of project success. They determine whether your project is going to what to achieve to achieve success or not. And there are others like political situations, like maybe market conditions and whatsoever, or maybe even environmental factors. They are determinants again that can influence your project success. Remember, if say the when you look at maybe the environmental factors, or maybe we are looking at the environment. If the environment is not conducive or the environment is prone to maybe severe bad weather, it may have an impact on your project success. So these are just determinants of project success, right? Organizational structure. All right, I think for now, let's end here on organizational structure. When we meet next week, we'll start looking at the organizational structures that you find in project management or that you find when people are executing projects, and then we complete the module, the unit 1, next week. So I think for now, we have just introduced what a project is. We've introduced project management, and we've touched on different aspects that you need to or that you find in projects. So I think for today, we can end here. For today, let's end here. For next week, we'll start on organizational structures day and try and complete it, the unit 1 next week. All right. Yes, I think we are done for today. It's just the first lesson. So yeah, I think we are okay for today. Are there any questions or not? Yes.
No, it was quite clear. Thank you.
All right. Nodumiso, are you okay?
Yes, I'm also fine. I'm also fine.
All right. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Let's meet next week and we continue from where we've just left here. But for next week, we'll finish the whole unit, and we'll look at some other things there that are interesting. So project management is not difficult. It's so easy. And you're going to find out as we go through the units and as we do a bit of some revision that it's actually one of the easiest things that one can do. So I think it's fine. Are there any questions before we close?
When are we going to tackle our assignment? Do you have plans on it?
I haven't planned on it yet, but I think if we do maybe next week, this unit, and the other week, I think we can do that assignment. Maybe the other coming week from next week, I think we'll do that assignment that time. So I think it's
Oh,
fine.
okay.
Yes.
Okay. No, there are no other questions. Thank you.
All right. Good night and enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, good night. Thank you.